So welcome back. It is part 3 now of the MSU Chorale's journey to Scandinavia, and we'll be going over both Denmark and Sweden. So welcome to Life with Luke. If you've not had a chance yet to go watch the other 2 videos, please go check them out. I'll try to put them right up here for you to go see. If you've watched some of my past videos, you already know that I am in the Missouri State Universtiy Chorale. So we are the flagship touring ensemble at Missouri State University. And I quickly just wanted to talk a little bit about what we do. So every year we go on a different tour. One year it will be domestic, and then the next year it will be international. So for example, this year we went to Scandinavia. Last year we toured the Southwest, so like Texas, New Mexico. We went to the Grand Canyon. The year before that we went to South Africa, and then my freshman year we went to the Southeast region, so like Tennessee, North Carolina, South Carolina, some places like that. If you've been following along, you already know from the first video, we went to Iceland for a few days, then we spent about a week in Norway. So now we're on to Denmark and Sweden, where we kind of ended out our tour and got to spend some time. After we left Oslo, Norway, we had another pretty long drive into Sweden. First we stopped in Mollösund and had a great lunch there, and there's actually this rock. It's a fishing community, and there's a rock that women would sing this song called trilogy. They would stand on the top of this rock and sing to the fishermen coming back to town, and I got a really cool video of that, so I'll try to include us singing that, as well as maybe some other clips from other concerts that I was able to get video to. And then after that we went over to Gothenburg, Sweden, which going into it I honestly probably thought this was kind of gonna be like the most boring part of the trip, because I really didn't know anything about Gothenburg, but it was an incredible town. The person we stayed with, his name was Peter. We had a really fun homestay, and he was just the coolest human being. He had a little 11-year-old daughter, so he took us out to dinner at this little place called Penchos. It's kind of like a tapas bar, but it was circus themed. So instead of if you like go to some restaurants, they'll bring you out bread or something. At this place they brought you popcorn, and you ordered all the food on your phone, and it was just a really fun experience that I know no one else went there, and it was different and cool, and I really enjoyed it. So then the next day we had the entire day free. We had a short rehearsal in the morning, but then most of the day free. So we started off by going to Haga, and this like the old part of Gothenburg, walked around quite a bit there, explored an art museum that was gorgeous, and then me and 2 other people, we actually ended up going to a theme park, which was kind of unexpected, but we saw it from like the side of the road, and everyone kept talking about how cool this theme park was. So we just decided to go check it out, rode some rides and walked around, and it was super fun. What I noticed was different about the theme parks there, or at least the one that we went to, was that instead of paying like a whole bunch of money, like $90 or $100 to get into the park, you would just get into the park, and then you could pay money to ride rides. So it was more circus themed, I guess, or not circus themed, but there was more of a theming like you're going to a fair. So like you might pay a small fee to get in, but then really what you'd be paying for later is certain rides that you wanted to ride. So that was cool because we didn't really have to pay that much to ride some rides and just walk around. So that night we had our 5th concert of the tour at a gorgeous church. It was the Oscar Friedrich Church, and I think I do have some clips of me filming the outside of that, but it was, like I said, it was beautiful. We sang with another more adult choir, which was cool to see. And then we sang a joint song at the end. We sang Solpersong. So yeah, we got to sing with them at the end, and then we kept going on our journey. So Gothenburg, it was a short stay, but it was super fun just getting to walk around, doing things that nobody else really did, and the choir was cool as well. Going to this art museum and then later going to the amusement park was cool. Also, something interesting that I saw when we were there is that they were having graduations, and graduations there were huge. There were people walking all over the city with just pictures of their children on signs from when they were little, and it was just an incredibly big party in the streets. So that was super cool to see how excited everyone was for their children to be graduating. After going to Gothenburg, we actually then went to Denmark before going to Stockholm a little later. So I say we spent time in Copenhagen, but really half of it was we were at a workshop all day because we were singing at this international chorus festival in Denmark. So the first day was actually our free day. We got to go all around town. We went down to Nyhavn, we went and saw the mermaid, shopped a little bit, did all the touristy things in Denmark, and then we went and saw a concert that night from a Swedish choir and a Danish choir. They were called Decorum and Novo, and they were awesome. Smaller choirs. That was another thing I learned. All of these Scandinavian choirs were just astounded to know how big our choir was in Missouri, because there's 48 of us, but for a lot of them, a big choir would probably be like 20 or 30 people, just because it's harder to get people. And then also when we tell them we rehearse 4 days a week, they're like, wow, that is crazy, because I think every single choir we talk to, they only rehearse like 1 day a week for 2 hours. So the fact that we rehearse so much was pretty crazy to them. And that I think about it, like, it is quite a bit of rehearsing, but I think all the hard work pays off. Anyway, back to the story. So we went to Copenhagen for a couple days. The first day was our day off, walked all around, saw this concert, and then the next day we were in a workshop all day long with a conducting expert at this Swedish church in Denmark. So that might sound funny, but yeah, it was a Swedish church that they built in Denmark. So there were Swedish flags everywhere, and it kind of felt like we were still in Sweden. But we spent all day there, and then we had our concert that night, and we did that along with the Lund choir, and they were also around college age, and so that was also cool. We got to hang out with some more students our age, but this time they were Swedish. Finally, to conclude our tour, we ended our trip in Stockholm, Sweden. So we had a 7 or 8 hour drive. It was super long from Copenhagen all the way to Stockholm. And then when we got there, we got to a hotel actually, and we stayed in a hotel for the rest of the time, which was super nice because the rest of it we were in homestays. Oh, and I forgot to mention, our homestay in Denmark was super cool. Shout out to Lena. Her and her husband and daughter were all super accommodating and nice, and they actually took us around the city. Lena did when she picked us up that night. She took us throughout Copenhagen and showed us some different things around the town, and that was awesome. But anyway, back to Stockholm. So we got there, we got to the hotel, and then we had the night off. We actually had a like 2 or 3 hour debriefing thing after we had dinner that night, and that was super cool, just to talk about the trip and kind of remember those things and go over what we'd been experiencing, so that we could really take it in and grow from it. The next day, we woke up in the morning and we were going to be having our last concert that night in Stockholm. But actually this one was also going to be a joint concert with 3 other choirs. So this concert was going to be us, it was going to be another American choir, Augustana College from Illinois. It was going to be a smaller choir from the church we were singing at, and then finally the St. Jakob Vocal Ensemble, who I said earlier in my second part video that I thought the Schola Cantorum was one of the top 2 choirs. St. Jakob was definitely the other one. They sang incredible music, like very challenging stuff, and they were gorgeous. It was a pleasure getting to sing with all 4 of those choirs, and that's pretty much all that happened on that second day. We had a sound check in the morning, then we got to walk around and hang out and see the town a little bit, but it was an earlier concert. It was a 4 p.m. concert, so normally our concerts would be at 7, but this one was at 4. But it was nice because we got to do that, and then we had the whole night free where we got to go back to the hotel, relax, talk to people, and it was nice getting to just exist in that space. And then finally, our final day of tour, we had an entire day off in Stockholm, and then our farewell dinner that night. So this was a pretty emotional night, but I'll get there in a little bit. In the daytime in Stockholm, we had the entire day free. We got to explore, go to a whole bunch of different shops. We went by and saw the changing of the guard at the palace, and then finally we went to the Vasa Museum. If you're ever in Stockholm, I would definitely encourage you to go to this. It's pretty much a museum based off of this ship from the 16th or 17th century. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's a super old ship, and it was one of the biggest ships that Sweden had at the time. Back at this time, Sweden was a European superpower. They were a very large country, and for them to have a ship of this size was very telling, and they were trying to really show their might, I would say, to we're not to be messed with, because we are a big country. And so they built this huge ship, and sadly, just about 1,000 meters away from where it sailed, it sank. It was actually still in the harbor, and as you could imagine, it was pretty embarrassing. And sadly, there were a lot of people that actually died on this boat. There were a lot of survivors, but there were some casualties. And luckily, they were able to get the boat. They were able to excavate it, and they put it in this museum. So it's really cool. It's literally a fully intact ship, and you can walk around, learn the history of both the ship and kind of the life of Sweden at this time period. And then finally, to the sad part of the night, is we had our farewell dinner. At these farewell dinners, we all get super dressed up in our nicest outfits. I always try to look the snazziest, I would say. I rocked my floral outfit this time. I was trying to bring a little bit of Missouri and a little bit of Sweden. If you look at Swedish choral music at all, they're always talking about wanting to get into summer. So I had some floral stuff, but for more detail, I decided to find a floral blazer that had dogwood patterns on it, because of course the dogwood is a state flower of Missouri. So that was pretty nerdy and super extra, but I'm proud of it, and I had the coolest outfit no matter what anyone else says. So we had dinner at this place called Five Little Houses. We stayed there for a few hours. People told stories of their time in choir, what they were going to miss, what they enjoyed about the trip, and how it can really push us forward. And this always is very emotional for all of us, because it's the end, and the end is always sad for people, especially for me, this probably being my last year in choir. It does get very emotional, especially because we sing, and you start to realize through this whole thing that this is the last time that you're going to be able to sing with these people. And not only that, but for a lot of people, this is the best choir they're probably ever going to sing in. And realizing that this journey is coming to an end can be very sad, but it's also happy in a lot of ways, because you're remembering everything that happened, and you're looking forward to this new future that you're about to embark on. It was definitely emotional. I don't think I cried at all. I just had really bad allergies the whole time. But yeah, so it was an incredible night. I love the Missouri State Universistiy Chorale. Being in it for these past 4 years was the best experience of my life, and truly these have been the times where I was living in the good old days. And that's my challenge for everyone who maybe watches this video. If it's 5 people, if it's 10, I mean, I'm not expecting like thousands of people to come watch these videos, but if anyone does, I encourage you to take note of when you're in the good old days, and not let them go easily. Embrace them, and yeah, truly just live in the moment. Anyway, getting off of my soapbox, after that farewell dinner, we woke up early in the morning, got on the bus, flew from Stockholm into Amsterdam, and then finally from Amsterdam to Atlanta, and then Atlanta back home. So it was about 24 hours of traveling. Everyone when we got home was dead tired and probably slept for the next week. But like I said, this trip was outstanding. I I love choir. I love traveling with these people. I don't know what traveling is going to be like without choir, honestly. And yeah, if you're not in choir, start singing. Everyone needs to sing, and you will not regret it. And if not singing, do some type of art, because it's so spiritual, it's so life-changing. And just get out there and do something. So, that's it. Thank you for joining me on this part 3 trilogy. Think of this as Shrek 3. So, that's it. Thank you for joining me on this trilogy on our tour to Scandinavia. I took you through Iceland in the first video, we went through Norway, and now finally we just ended with Denmark and Sweden. I really hoped you liked this, and I will be doing some more videos coming up shortly. Just next week I'll be going to Disney World for a little bit, so I'll be trying to vlog a little bit of that trip. I'm super excited because I'll actually be there for the opening of Toy Story Land, so that will be awesome. I hope to not get trampled in the crowds, but stay tuned for that. And then in July I will actually be going for 2 weeks to China. We will be going to the Chinese International Chorus Festival with the Missouri State University Chorale, and I am super ecstatic for that. One, because I'm hoping my vlogging skills will be better, so I'll get much more video, and two, because it's China. Not many people really put that on their list of places to go. I know I personally didn't put it on my top list of places, but the Chinese government is actually paying for the trip because we were selected as this distinguished choir at this festival. So I'm super excited. We're going to be singing all over China. So we're going to be in Beijing and Langzhou for most of the tour, and actually we're going to be singing at where they held the Olympic ceremony. So that is super exciting. They said there's over 40,000 people coming, and hopefully I'm going to be able to take you on a lot of this journey. As always, if you like what you saw, please like this video and subscribe for more content, and I'll see you soon. Thanks for joining Life with Luke.